we are walking around in our homes and in our spaces feeling like we have bricks on us, I mean, that is not the way to live. I am wanting to feel elevated and spoiled. So when I go into a space and I'm making decisions, I'm like, does this item make me feel elevated? Do I feel spoiled when I walk in here?
Namaste. When you hit midlife, downsizing seems to come with the territory. Either you do it yourself, as I did when I separated from my husband and moved into an apartment where I am right now, or when my sister passed and I had to sell her house and decide which of her belongings I wanted to keep and which ones I could let go of. So if you need to downsize and don't know where to start, or you're thinking it might be something you're going to have to do in the future, you're in the right place today, because I am so excited to introduce today's guest. Her name is Tracy Hoth, and she is a certified life and organizing coach who helps women simplify their homes, their lives, and their businesses through practical systems and mindset shifts so they can focus on what matters most, which is, designing your life your way, which is our podcast here, right? And as the host of the top 1% globally ranked Organized Coach podcast, she empowers women. Sorry, I have a fly flying by me. She empowers women to declutter with confidence, create systems that last, and step into the role of organized life CEOs. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her up here and officially welcome you, Tracy, to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Gloria. I'm so glad to be here and talk about this topic.
I am so glad you're here too, because I know that you're going to have some great advice to share with our audience. And I thought one of the things I wanted to ask you about first is that in your work, what have you found to be like the one thing that most women need to release first before real change becomes possible?
Oh, this is such an easy question for me to answer.
Oh, good. I like that.
We cannot outperform our identity. So if a woman thinks that she's messy, that she's like a hot mess, or she's a collector, or she has lots of things, or she's a piler, that identity is going to stay with her and she's not going to be able to change. So I think looking at what you believe about yourself and then making a decision on what you want to be, who you want to be, is super important before you move forward. And not that you have to spend hours figuring this out and going so deep, but just recognize, if you were to ask yourself, why are you not organized right now? What comes up? What are the answers that you say that automatically come up in your head? And then just say, I noticed that. That's what it is.
I love that. Yeah, that is so. It reminds me of something I was actually writing about today, as a matter of fact. That same kind of thing of just like being a little more introspective and not judging yourself, because it's not about that, right? It's
Right.
really about just saying, okay, let's be a little curious and just notice it, and that's the first step of any kind of change.
Yes. And so I have different clients who think they're a perfectionist and they label themselves as that. Or one who just was on my podcast said that she was a collector and now she's an enjoyer of empty space. So
Wow.
it's just
Okay.
fun seeing the difference of what you want to believe about yourself and finding so much evidence that it's true and that
Hmm.
you can support and really believe now.
Okay, I like that, but I'm going to ask: can you be maybe a strategic collector though? Maybe collect a few things and then still be that valuing the empty space type of
Oh,
thing.
completely. But it was interesting because she had collections of so many things.
Mm,
And she decided, I don't want that anymore. I want to keep, and she's deciding which collection she'll keep, but she's
mm,
able to then let go of things because she loves the empty space. So
mm.
absolutely, you're choosing what you love and what you want to surround yourself with, and you're enjoying the other spaces.
Yeah. That's so good. So, well, and that brings me to my next question. And I know for me, it was so interesting. Like I said at the intro, when my sister passed, I had to sell her house, and so she had um, lots of stuff in her garage that she had intended to go through. When she knew she had cancer, and we just never got around to going through that. But she had a library like I do, lots of books, and one of them was that old Marie Kondo book about how to get how to what was it, the magic of cleaning up or something.
Tidying up, yes.
Tidying up, yeah. So her thing, for those of you who may or may not have read it, it's really about focus on what you really 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 love, and things like that. So how do you approach this? How do you help someone decide what to keep and what to let go of?
Well, around the identity, I like to first look at where they're going. So they have an idea of what they're spending time, what they want to be spending time on, what their life looks like. So that, of course, begins. If you start looking at that first, then you really can filter through decisions easier. But then I like to think of it like a project, and you have a start and an end date, and you have a specific focus. So in my program, we go through one focus a month, one room per month or space per month. And that helps you break the project down. And then you follow the organizing steps with anything that you're going to organize, and you sort first. One thing with Marie Kondo that she does, which I disagree with, is she says you pull everything out of the space. And I'm like, yeah, but I watched one of the shows, and she pulled everything out and piled it on the bed, like every piece of clothing in their entire house. And I was like, okay, that would overwhelm me completely to have all that on my bed. So if you sort, you might just pull out one category of maybe pants, and
Mm.
then you go through the rest of the steps: sort, purge, assign homes, contain, and energize. So you go through those steps with each category. And now you have this project, you have the steps to complete each thing. And by the end of that start and end date that you set, you have an organized space and a decluttered space.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because yeah, definitely it can be overwhelming to try to do the whole thing. And I think I was inspired. So when I got home after driving back home from Arizona, where my sister lived, to Florida, I did go through my clothes, and I think I did do it that way. I think I took, like, just do all my shirts or something. I took, like, maybe one drawer and put it on my bed, and went through stuff, and it did feel good to really make space. It's amazing how much of a difference it does make to have that, instead of having things all crammed in. Have you found that with your clients? I mean, what have been some of the maybe some of the comments they've experienced with you when they've done this work with you?
Yeah. One of them just said recently, it's like a pile of bricks off of her chest.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, we are walking around in our homes and in our spaces feeling like we have bricks on us. I mean, that is not the way to live. And so then some other ones are just more spacious, more free. A lot of people feel free. They feel really proud that they made those decisions and they're moving forward. I personally am going through my house this year, each space by space, like in my program, and I am wanting to feel elevated and spoiled. So when I go into a space and I'm making decisions, I'm like, does this item make me feel elevated? Do I feel spoiled when I walk in here? And it's not meaning like we're so rich and uppity. It just means, like, when I walk in my space and I'm living in the space, I want to feel that elevated feeling and that
Mm.
spoiled, like I'm taking care of myself.
I like that. That's a cool way to look at it, because it is nice. We will look at, like, I enjoy looking at, like magazines where you see these lovely design, spaces, or even watching some of the home remodeling shows, and when they get everything all done and they walk in and everything's in its place and it just looks so nice and neat, and it's like, yeah, I'd like to live there.
Yeah. They've done studies that show woman women, when they just think about clutter, they don't even have to see it or be in it, that it
Mm,
raises their cortisol levels. And there was
mm,
another study that showed how they manipulated spaces. And even if the woman thought that it, like she said verbally, that that didn't bother her, they tested her saliva levels and they could see a difference between seeing a cluttered space and a not cluttered space. And
wow.
so
Mm,
it really does affect us more than we realize. Most of us realize it. We don't want to be there, but
yeah.
even if we think we're fine, it's affecting our physical bodies.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes it just I think it accumulates slowly sometimes where you don't, it's like, you don't realize it and then all of a sudden you look at it's like, oh God. In fact, like, I look at my office right now and it's like I see signs of it starting to get a little like, oh dear, I need to go through and, gets rid of it's like those papers just kind of um, multiply in the night
Yes.
somehow,
Yes.
they just multiply. You're not doing it, right? They just multiply by themselves. I don't understand.
Yeah. And that's why I think the steps in my SPACE acronym, sort, purge, assign homes, and then contain. The reason we contain things, and that might be a basket, a shelf, a divider, whatever it is that we're using, is so that when that limit is reached, that's our trigger. We can see that, and it teaches us to go back to the organizing steps.
Mm,
And the final step is energize. I mean, we feel it when we have a space completed and it's the way we want, or we've decluttered a layer. We feel that energy. And in order to maintain that, I always say tie it to something you already do. So we do taxes every year, tie going through your paper to taxes. Now, I know you're saying, like, in your office, it's not we don't wait till the end of the year,
yeah, yeah.
but it's something else maybe we do once a month, or
Mm,
maybe the cleaners come or we clean, and so that's our trigger, like, I'm gonna go through those papers. I
mm,
even think of simple things like we buy groceries every week, and before you put the groceries away, do a quick clean out of the fridge and then tidy up the pantry so that it
mm.
maintains the space that you have. The other one I always tell people, because people will say, "My car is so messy right now." Every time I go to the gas station, I empty the trash out. We've been doing that for years. Our kids do it. Like, I made them do it if they were in the car. Empty the trash out, and I have a trash can in my garage. So, as soon as I pull in, I look around and gather stuff, throw it in the trash, or take it and put it away.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you just take that extra minute or two to do something, it it makes it so much easier because it is that when it gets to be where you've put it off and put it off and put it off, that's when it gets overwhelming when you finally decide, oh God, I got to do it. And like I'm flashing back to remembering as a kid, and I would let my bedroom get to be like this disaster area, and my father would come in and go, "You've got to clean up this room right now," and it's like you're not going anywhere until you get it done. And I was like, and then it's like, oh God, and I would open my closet and go, ah. So yeah. I don't let that happen now, thank goodness. But yeah,
Yeah.
bad memories of that.
One of my clients called herself a binge organizer, where she does it and she can clean and she can make it happen, but then it just gets messy. But then she knows, like, she can do it again and make it happen and clean it up. And I think there's no right or wrong. Like, if that's everybody has their own level of tolerance of clutter, and it's totally fine. If it's affecting your life and you want to change it, that's when we look at getting organized. Because getting organized just means you know what you have and you can find it when you need it. So if you're finding that it's affecting your life in a negative way, then make it a priority. Learn the steps, practice the skill of getting organized, or figure out what mindset block is keeping you from getting organized.
Absolutely. And I would also just say sometimes you really do need to get help to have someone come in. So for instance, when I graduated from high school, my parents split up, and so they put the house up for sale. Now they've lived in this house for 18 years, like right before I was born, but they had also brought stuff to that house from prior houses, and then they also had some stuff from my grandmother was up in the attic. I lived in Michigan, so we had an attic in our house, and we were able to store stuff. But I remember that it was hard for my mom to get rid of stuff. And she finally had to actually hire someone who came in and she did okay, have you used this in the last 5 years? Have you used this in the last year, or something, maybe the last 6 months, something like that. And then if she hadn't, then it's like, okay, well then I think it might be time to let this go. And that was how at that time, and this is 1980. So
that was early for professional organizers in 1980.
I don't even know where she found this person, because I don't think it was a friend of the family, unless it was maybe somebody one of her friends knew, and maybe it was just someone that what am I trying to say, that she didn't have any skin in the game. It's like
Yes.
an outsider,
an unbiased opinion.
Unbiased.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do for sure think that you need to have support, because you're at this spot and you want to get to this spot. And that may be reducing your clutter, and maybe that you want to move, like whatever your goal is over here.
Yep.
And there is something keeping you from getting to that. And like I said, it's either a skill gap or a mindset gap. And in order to change those two things, I mean, a skill, you want to learn a new skill from someone, and a mindset, a lot of times we can't see that in ourselves. So to be able to have someone witness your mind and walk with you on this journey is so incredibly helpful. And the cool thing is, learning that and what shows up in that really does affect or spill over into the other areas of your life. Right now, one of my clients is noticed that she's having a really hard time making a decision on where something is going to live. And so she thinks the answer is somewhere outside of her. Like, I'm going to have the answer, which I can give her a suggestion. But what she's realized is she thought that she's such a perfectionist in her identity that she thinks there's this perfect answer. So what she's doing now is saying, this item might have a home here. I'm going to test it and see. And it's so cool because it's working. And she's noticing at work how she does this, and in her dating how she does this. And it's that one little thought that's affecting. So now that she notices it, it spills over into all the rest of her life as well.
Yeah. And that makes sense, because I think that is, how you do one thing is how you do everything, I think.
Yes.
is the expression. So yeah, it makes sense that it would show up in other areas of our life. And yeah, I can see that for myself too, but I'm not going to do that right now. So I'm going to change it and put the focus on you and ask you, was there a moment in your life when you realized something has to change, and what did you do first?
Yes, I think personally with organizing my home, I noticed it in other people. And my youngest daughter had a best friend, and her mom wouldn't let anybody in the house. So my daughter could never go to her house and play because of the clutter. And I think that set me on a path to kind of never be in that place as much as possible, and to help her. So when I started organizing as a profession, I first started helping her. And then later, my daughter got to go to her house. It was such a blessing for her to be able to have people in her home and have friends over and stuff. So with the home, it wasn't as much of an issue, although I'm not a perfectionist type. Like, it doesn't look like things on Pinterest. I don't have color-coded, decantered everything, pictures, but I'm very practically organized. I just want to know where it is and be able to find it. Where it really showed up for me is when I started my online business and all the files on my computer, all this stuff. And I thought, holy cow, I need to take care of this. Or I'm finding that I can't find things that I need and find the documents I was looking for. Then so I started implementing the principles that I would use in people's homes on my computer, and then set up some really simple solutions on organizing business files and finding the things that I needed. So I think that's where it really hit home for me.
Yeah. And I did see your way of organizing digital files, because that's definitely been the bane of my existence as well. And it's what has also happened for me is that I've gone through different computers, and I had things backed up in the cloud, but then I lost one area of it. I don't know. So I still have like a whole bunch of old files
Yeah.
that are in the cloud from my old computer. So I just go there when I need stuff. And if I can't find it on my current computer, I'll look there. So at least I don't bring it onto this one. I have enough on the current computer that I don't need
Yeah.
to go there and add more clutter to it.
Yeah. Well, then that really shows that you're organized too, because you know where to find it if you need it. You just aren't exactly positive what's in there, but mm,
Yeah, it's just and there's like one day if I'm like totally bored, or maybe you can. I mean, I have started to organize like my current things, and it is getting better. But I have I'm a digital hoarder. Let's
yeah.
face it. There are files on there from when I first started my business that I know I don't really need anymore. But they were, how to do optimize this or how to do that, and it's like I know I don't need to save this stuff. It's probably even from like social media platforms that don't exist anymore, and I should probably just delete it so it's not taking up space.
That's such a good point because we all, I think, especially if we have our own businesses, we're learners. And so
Yes.
anytime there's something free to download, we just
Mhm.
think, "Oh, I'm going to grab it now." And then we never go back and look at it. So
Right.
that's exactly what's filling our houses up too. But now it's on our digital space as well. So that takes me back to, I mean, a lot of people will think those same thoughts about their home or their attic or their garage. So it takes me back to we set a time when we're going to work on this. Maybe it's Q2 or Q3. We're going to put that on the calendar as our project that month. And we're going to start, have a finish date, and break it down in there so we can move through that and create the result that we want. Because in as little as 15 minutes, 5 minutes. I had a lady that was organizing paper in her home. She was a full-time care, or she had a full-time job. She caretaked for her husband
Mhm.
and she had a teenage daughter, and her house was full of paper. And she had stayed frozen in that state for so long. And so when she reached out to me, we made a plan. So she had the new thought, I have a plan. And she committed to sorting 5 pieces of paper a day. And of course, sometimes she sorted more, but she went through every single piece of paper in her house. And so if we were to look at that for business or digital files, we could set the structure up and then we could commit to sorting 5 files a day. Once you get them all sorted into the structure, you just go back through each folder and you make decisions. That's
Mhm.
what, when I get to the digital section of our focus this year, I am deleting all those old, I am just ready to clean out, to
Mhm.
feel, enjoy the space and feel elevated and get all that stuff out and just really simplify my
Yeah,
business and what I'm working on.
absolutely. And I remember one time, I don't know, something happened to my email, and I lost every single email that I'd had. And so I had to start from scratch. And it was heartbreaking at first. And then it was like, oh, I don't have 10,000 emails anymore. It was like so nice. So I have to start doing this again. I need to put on the calendar, I think, like, again, like once a week where I am starting to go through and I am unsubscribing
Yeah.
periodically and then going through whoever I decide to unsubscribe. And then I like search for all of those and going, oh, these are all the emails I never read. Okay, delete, delete, delete. And it's really clearing up my space, but I have to continue to do it.
It is a continual process, isn't it? Yeah, and we have to watch what we're signing up for in
Mhm.
advance. So all those summits or free things or whatever, we're signing up for that. And then we have to, it just puts more work on us. And the exact same thing is when you, before you buy something, really
Mhm.
think about, where is this item going to live in my home or in my
Mhm.
space? Am I going to use it? Is it, if I were to pay full price for it right now, is it something that I would bring into my space? Because once it gets in your space, you have this higher attachment to it, or you think it's more valuable. And
Mhm.
then you have to make more decisions on it once it's in there. So for all of us to really consider that before we buy something or even download something that's free or bring free stuff into our house.
Absolutely, yes. As my mother used to say, nature abhors a vacuum, so you have to be careful. It's like all of a
Yes.
sudden you have all this stuff. And the other place I know that a lot of people have, and I do too, is we are collecting pictures on our
Oh,
phones now. Oh my gosh. And so I have been pretty good now of setting up like digital folders for like family and friends, or business or something, and putting them in there. And even my family, I've got my brother, my sister, my grandparents, aunts and uncles. So at least I know where to find them, because I started like scanning in like old regular photos, because some of them from the 70s are not looking so well. I didn't protect them because we
yeah.
didn't know enough to protect them back then, and then the color starts getting wonky.
Well, look how organized you are with your folders. That's pretty amazing.
I'm trying, but I still have boxes, and I've got 3 boxes of pictures full, and I'm not talking little boxes. I'm talking a big box. Because I have not only my pictures, but my family's pictures. I got my sister had pictures, and then my mother has pictures, and then my grandmother has pictures. And those are the really hard ones, because I'm really starting to be like, okay, I have no idea, and they're written on the back, or there's nothing written on the back. I don't know if they're family or just friends. It's like they're
Yeah.
cool from the 1920s, maybe, but I don't know really if it's worthwhile saving these things.
Yeah. Well, and Gloria, this reminds me of a topic that came up with a client, and I've since did a podcast episode about the 1,000-piece puzzle. And so
Mhm.
as we are thinking about just the amount of photos or the amount of digital files or stuff in our house,
Right.
it's like it can be like a very therapeutic thing to go through this. You could really enjoy it. And a client thought of this, our comparison with a 1,000-piece puzzle. We dump that puzzle out and there's 1,000 pieces. And we do it for fun. And we have our family members around and we turn the fire on or the music on or whatever, and we sort the puzzle into edge pieces. And then we put the edge pieces, then we sort maybe by color and we grab a color we want to work on. And it's fun. It's part of it. It's like a practice. And so organizing can be the same way. Instead of us dreading it and thinking it's so awful, we can really change our thoughts about it and try to look at it more like this is a really therapeutic practice that I'm doing. I'm letting go of parts of my life and things I used to enjoy, and I'm focusing and making space for the future. And it can be this really beautiful thing.
Mm. Yeah, I think that is smart, because yeah, if you because attitude is everything. If you're going to treat it like a chore, it's going to be a chore. But if you can, yeah, instead say, let's have some fun and relive some old memories and see what we got. Um, it can be fun, and I know I did that a few months ago, where I was going through a whole bunch of um, papers, but it was, oh, my mother saved lots of stuff, and she's had, all of my old report cards, and then cute little pictures. Because again, I've been trying to go through some of my kids. I still have like a little box here of things, and I've been occasionally going through and saying, okay, which of these do I really sentimental and really cute and I want to keep, and I'll maybe then scan so I don't have to keep the physical part of it. Um, but yeah, it can be a lot of fun if you treat it that way. So I think that's a good reminder that let's enjoy the process and not treat it like
Yes.
a chore instead.
Yeah. It's so funny that today on maybe Instagram or something, I saw this woman who takes her kids' artwork and makes like giant canvas artwork, and she
Ooh,
puts their artwork all over it, glues it on, and then covers it with, I don't know, Mod Podge or something.
yeah, yeah,
And it was so cool. Like I thought to myself, all my kids' artwork, I don't know if they'll ever want it. It's in one, they each have a bin with
yeah.
memorabilia in it. But
Hmm.
I thought that would be so cool. And then we're kind of at the middle stage between no grandkids and about to have some grandkids, I'm thinking. And so it would be so fun to hang in the room where the grandkids would live, to have these cool artwork up on the wall. So there's so many fun things that could come from going through your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it you never know what you might find. There's some really interesting things. I mean, again, for me, it was like this memory lane. I mean, I had there was some letter I had written to big boy restaurants for something. I don't remember now what it was. And then there was other ones about like, when I was sick. And then I had found like a similar one from my son when he had his wisdom teeth out, and it was something about don't feel good, and it's like, oh, I can't get rid of that. It's just too precious, and he'll throw it out, but I'll be gone by the time he decides
Right.
to need that anymore. But for now, I want to keep it and just have fun memories.
Yes. And so I do think it helps to put boundaries or rules in place so that our decisions are easier as we look through something. So
Mhm.
maybe that's setting up a bin or a box that is a limit for the amount of stuff we keep. That's what I did when my kids were little.
Yeah.
I had a box and they knew, well, if it fit into the folder for this school year, then they could keep it. And once that's full, we would go down there and pull, they'd have to go through it. They'd have to make decisions like what's going to
Mhm.
fit and what's not going to fit.
Yeah.
So for us too, the space or the container that we're provided in our house, current
Mhm.
house, not one
Yeah.
day future house,
Right.
or in the room that we're working on, having that be the container in the space that we have, and then choosing our favorites to fit in there first and then going from there. But those little rules, like, does a person need 25 pairs of pants or 10? And setting that up ahead of time of the person you're becoming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
or even following the old rule. Okay, if you get a toy, you have to get rid of toys. So if you want to buy a new shiny something or other, then maybe you look and see, is there anything now in the house that maybe it's served its usefulness, and maybe you can let somebody else get some joy from it instead, so you can make room for something new.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I love this, and I think we've covered a lot of stuff, but I know that you have um, like a 15-minute routine or something, I think. Can you go over what that is that you can, that might be helpful for, especially once we do, because I think isn't it to help you to, once you do get things organized, how to keep it that way?
Well, and you can use it for both, right?
Okay.
So I have been helping people get organized for 17 years, and I have never created a 15-minute, a 10-minute, nothing like that before. I created it last in 2025 and gave it to members of my Organized Life Academy. And I said, can you guys test this? We're going to test it on one of our calls. We're going to try it out. And they loved it. It was so impactful because they could get so much more done than they thought was possible. And they started using it, and it's really like changed how they think about things. So now I made it available to everyone, and you follow the organizing steps, the space steps. So in that free thing that you can get from me, you can download it. It has the description of what to do to organize anything, your space, your brain, your project, your calendar, your digital life. You can organize any of it. And then there's a printout, so you can hang that wherever you're organizing. And then you just do that 15 minutes. I remember I ran a mile every day in 2019 because I heard her say she was doing it. And I was like, that sounds fun. And so I don't know why, but I did it every day. So if you wanted to do the 15-minute declutter challenge every day, for a week or every day for a month and work on the space that you're focusing on, you will make so much progress. And so you just follow the steps: sorting first, purging, assigning homes, containing things, and then having that energy and maintaining that space.
I love that. Yeah, it is amazing that if you do just spend a few minutes every day. I know that's how I got uh, when I was stuck at one point on my book, I had a coach tell me the same thing. Just spend 15 minutes on it. And
Yes.
even if you don't write, but even just thinking about it sometimes was enough. And
Yes.
then sometimes I would start with 15, and then you get in a groove and you keep going.
Yes.
It's like you've got the momentum going. So, but it's having that discipline of a specific say, okay, and set the timer.
Yeah, set a timer. And I
Mhm.
do a training and I was live one time. So I show the replay of this time when I decluttered my neighbor's junk drawer using the organizing steps, but I had the timer right there. And so it took 13 minutes to go through her entire junk drawer, make
Mm,
decisions,
yep.
put things, it was just fun for people to see like it really is possible to make progress.
Yeah. And it does feel so good when you got that progress, even if you're not even through it at all, even if you're just starting to see that light at the end of the tunnel, it makes a difference because it then gives you that momentum to keep going and to
Yeah.
or to do it again the next day and say, okay, let's see what else I can do today. And
Yes.
that's what we need. Sometimes we need that. Uh,
Motivation kind
yeah,
of, or
yeah,
that
yeah.
structure? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, exactly, because it helps you to keep going, so that you can keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Complete. So you can accomplish this goal so you can live in freedom from all the stuff that's weighing you down.
Yeah, for sure. Um, what are you curious about? Totally change gears on you. What are you
Ooh,
curious about right now?
right now. Well, here's what I'm doing in my house right now.
Mm,
We were looking to move. And so I the thing that I want when I look at a house is to have a dining room space that is open and you can get to it all around. Because right now, we've lived in our house for 20 years. The dining room is great. We've had lots of people at that dining room table. But the people in the back get stuck back there and they can't get out because it's so crowded. So I decided I didn't want to move. And what I did is made my front room of the house where my dining room table is going to be. So we got a big dining room table and we're just putting that into place. I put it together like 2 days ago. My fingertips hurt from the little whatever those little things are called that you twist. And then
yes.
I'm making the other area that was our dining room a little nook. And so I don't know what that looks like. So I'm having so much fun creating the space in my house to be what fits our family, like what I want it to be, even if traditionally you wouldn't do something like that. And so
Mm,
that's been fun. I've just been so curious, like what's going to look good. I'm having someone come in and help me with that. I need to get a electrician to move the light over into the other dining area now. So it's just been so fun. I've sold all my furniture, a table and chairs we've had for 30 years. I just sold those. And my beautiful office furniture I had down there, I sold it. And it's just been exciting.
wow, that's very cool. That actually made me think of something else. And I don't know if you do this or advocate it at all, but I have found, that I like to every so often, maybe once a year or something, I like to change things around and, like move furniture around in like the living room. I mean, at one point in this apartment that I was in, I had I had to swap rooms. I had to swap my office and bedroom because the person downstairs was running a fan and the vibration was driving me nuts.
Oh,
Um, so, but it gave me a chance to just kind of start over again and like, okay, how do I want to have things set up? But I have done that like in the living room. I find that I like to just change it around, change the energy around. Do you run into that when you're either personally or when you're working with clients? Or is that just me?
I do. I do suggest that people move things around when they're organizing because it puts something fresh and new. So when we used to do this, now my youngest has just turned 22. So they're older, but when we used to go through their room, like before school started, we went through their clothing and cleaned out. We would always take all the stuff out of the room, move the furniture, vacuum everywhere because it was so exciting and so fun. So it was very motivating, but it took a lot of work. That part where you are in the messy middle and your energy is all gone. You got to have someone who can stick it out till the end. Um, But I tend to be myself more of a person where I get it where I want it and I could leave it for years. Like
Mm,
our living room, we have this huge sectional that all our family can fit on, and there's really no other way to move it. But
mm.
we did take the whole thing apart after Christmas and vacuumed all over behind it and under the cushions, and we hadn't never done that for I don't want to say how many years. So that felt amazing to be able to do that. But now I'm doing it, right? I'm moving
Yeah,
all the furniture and changing it, and it's so fun. It really does add that energy to your life and freshness.
yeah, I think so too. I really, I've enjoyed doing that, and of course, when I did it, I realized, well, now I have things hanging on the wall that aren't quite the
Oh,
way
yeah.
they go now. But it's like, too bad. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
like, if I was at home, I would do something, but it's like it's an apartment. I'm just going to live with it. It's fine.
Right.
We
Right.
do the best we can. Um, is there anything else, any last nugget of that you would want to share, um, you know, with our audience? You know, if a woman listening is still feeling maybe overwhelmed, what would be maybe just like maybe one thing they could tackle today that would help them to move forward, and how would she expect to feel?
Mm. So I remember when I stood in front of a garage completely overwhelmed because I was thinking, there's no way I can do this. And the woman with me is 10 years older. The garage had so much stuff in it. It was
Mm,
just amazing. And I had to do something because she was paying me. And so I thought to myself, Tracy, the first step to organizing is to sort, go pick something up and put like with like. And I then was focused. I felt focused. I walked forward and I grabbed that can of paint and I said, let's make paint supplies and paint over here. And that lady did the same thing and we sorted the entire garage.
mm,
So I think if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's because of what you're thinking about the thing. So neutralize the amount of stuff that you have to work on and choose one area. That might be just your purse. That might be one bathroom drawer or one drawer in your kitchen, and just follow the organizing steps, the space steps, and take it one step at a time.
mm. Yeah, that's it, because it does make it so much easier if you can just start anything in life that you want to do, any way that you want to design your life, your way. Just start somewhere. Just start
Yes.
small, and I like that. That's so good. I know there are a ton of people listening to this going, okay, how do I get this freebie that you were talking about and things like that? So, where can people find you? How can they best contact you?
Yes, go to my website, simplysquaredaway.com/declutter, and that will get you the 15-minute declutter challenge. And then on my podcast, you'll learn a lot, the Organized Coach podcast.
All right, excellent. Well, I will definitely have that in the show notes, so don't worry about it. So make sure don't just go to the show notes and you'll have that. But again, it's simply squaredaway.com declutter. Right, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being with us today, and yeah, I knew it was going to be a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much, Gloria, for having me.
And I do want to thank all of you for listening today and or watching on YouTube. And I will be back next week with some more ideas on how you can embrace this incredible season of life. And be sure to check out the description of this video for a full rundown of the important links. Like I mentioned, we're going to have that link for Tracy in there, so you'll be able to see it there. And if you enjoyed this video today, please share it with a friend on social media and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing from you. And of course, it also helps me figure out how best I can serve and support you going forward. So remember, you are never too old to start a new chapter.